Hey everybody, it's V from It's a VDubulous Life, and I just wanted to do a quick video on a few struggles that I have personally dealt with when it comes to anxiety and how I kind of overcame it, and hopefully it can help somebody who might have these same kinds of struggles. So I appreciate you watching this video. And if you haven't done so already, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and go ahead and hit that subscribe button and stay tuned. Alrighty, so I'm gonna just go ahead and jump right on in because I do tend to ramble sometimes, and I want to make sure that I am getting out what I wanted to accomplish. So, one of the things that I have dealt with when it comes to my anxiety is perfectionism. I used to beat myself up so much over not being perfect. I can remember one time that actually it was the first time that I attempted to make dinner for my husband. It was when we first got married. We were maybe married a week. And I tried to make this big elaborate dinner because I thought that's what wives do. They make dinner for their husbands. And I don't know, I guess I just thought that by putting on the wedding ring, I was going to magically know how to cook. And it didn't turn out the way that I had hoped. I burnt whatever I was cooking. Whatever sides I had were really gross, to put it nicely. And it was just an all-around bad dinner. And I just remember feeling so bad and just thinking that maybe he's rethinking being married to me because I can't even cook him a decent meal. That is one story that sticks out to me in my personal struggles with perfectionism. And there have been many, many other times when I have felt that feeling of not being perfect or not being good enough. And it's horrible. It's a horrible feeling. And it's even more horrible when nobody knows what you're struggling with and there isn't anybody there to comfort you. One thing that I would recommend is just letting somebody know. Letting somebody know how you're feeling, what you're going through, and let them be there for you. It wasn't until years later when I actually was honest with myself, with my husband, and with anybody around me, anybody who loved me and cared for me. It wasn't until I was honest with them that I was able to start getting better. And it's because people who really care for me and really love me and really want to help me can notice those triggers. They can notice those changes in me in those moments, and they reach out and they let me know, how can I help you? Sometimes it's just letting me vent. Sometimes it's leaving me alone, and they're more than happy to help me get what I need so that I can move on from this and get better. One thing that I do now to kind of help when I'm starting to feel like nothing is going right, this is not going to be perfect, I'm going to fail at this, is just tell myself it's going to be okay. No matter what the outcome, it's going to be okay. And once this is over, whether you fail or you succeed, you can move on. You can get better. And that has really helped me. Another thing that I have struggled with is self-doubt. And this one particularly has affected me most at work. And that self-doubt that I have is sometimes crippling. I am usually really quiet and I don't say much. but I have lots of ideas, and I look at something, I look at a problem, and I try to make it better, and I try to find a solution, and I try to find the most efficient way to execute things. So a lot of times when I'm being quiet, it's because I'm thinking of something. It's not because I'm ignoring anybody, and it's not because I'm not interested. So when that self-doubt hits, I have these ideas, and then I talk myself out of sharing those ideas. I tell myself, that's not a good idea. That's not going to work. Nobody's going to care. And it's really horrible, and it's hindered me in my professional growth for a long time. And it wasn't until just recently and I started to be more open about what I struggle with. And one thing that stands out in particular for me is one day when I was at work and I was crying and I was feeling like I wasn't good enough. One of my very best friends at work took me aside and he told me that I needed to stop crying and go and show them what I could do, because I could do great things. And in that moment, it wasn't just the words that he said to me, it was the fact that he cared enough to pull me out of this rut that I was in. And ever since then, anytime that I start to doubt myself, I think of that time, and it just gives me that motivation to keep going. So if you struggle with self-doubt, find that person that you can be open with. Let them be your cheerleader, because that makes all the difference. Because when we, those who suffer with anxiety, are in our own heads and we're telling ourselves, you're not good enough, you can't do this, we need to have that outside voice saying, yes, you can do this. Yes, you are good enough. Because yes, you are good enough. One of the biggest struggles that I have with anxiety is worry. And it is horrible because I know that I shouldn't be worrying. And I have a strong faith in my God. And one thing that he tells us is not to worry. And here I am worrying all of the time. And I worry about things that more than likely will never happen. No joke. I worry about my kids. I worry about my husband. I worry about my family. I worry about everything. And that worry keeps me from my joy. One thing that I worry about is something horrible happening. And because I'm so busy worrying about that horrible thing happening, I can't enjoy that one thing, because I'm so focused on the negative. I'm so focused on the what ifs, and I can't enjoy myself. I can't enjoy my day. I can't enjoy anything because I'm constantly worrying about what if, what if, what if. So I have gone as far as taking some measures to prevent this bad thing from happening, this bad thing that probably would never happen in a million years. And it sounds really silly, but again, when it's in here, it feels really real. The one thing that I do to get over that is I honestly pray. I pray to God to take those thoughts out of my head. And I pray to just fill my head with good things and for me to be able to enjoy what I have. And that's just, some common sense, is to enjoy what you have instead of worrying about what you don't have or what could possibly happen in the future. When it comes to worry, my biggest thing that has helped me is prayer. And I usually write down my prayers in my prayer journal. And sometimes I will go back and I'll reread those prayers over and over and over again until I can get that joy back. Another thing that I struggled with that I didn't even realize that I was doing until somebody pointed it out to me, just straight up in my face, was complaining. I would complain a lot about anything and everything. And to me, it wasn't complaining. It was just me venting. It was just me bringing attention to things that I thought needed to be in the spotlight. And I remember this one time I was with a group of people and I was complaining and complaining and complaining about a particular incident that I had with a specific person. And there was this one person in that group that I was talking to while I was complaining, and he pulled me aside and he's like, "Hey, can I talk to you for a second?" I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." And what he said to me has stuck with me to this day, and this happened years ago. He had said to me that because of what I was saying and how I was complaining about this one particular person, it tainted his perception of that person. And he wasn't saying it to me in a mean way. I know that he actually cared about me in some way, shape, or form because he took the time to let me know that so that I can grow from it. And I honestly was just dumbfounded in that moment, like, wow, somebody actually called me out. And in that moment, I was like, how dare he? But, I thought about it and he was right. Because of my bad experience, I now have set him up to possibly have a negative perception of this other person. Now, I want to be clear that anything in the past, it's been cleared up. There's no more bad blood, so to speak. So again, this happened years ago, really, really early on in my career. But what he said to me has stuck with me again till this day. And so that has helped me think about what comes out of my mouth. And that's just something that we should always be doing, thinking about what we're saying, because we don't know how another person is going to take it. So we got to make sure that we're remembering to be positive. And, that good old saying, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. So when it comes to complaining, I would recommend writing down what's bothering you, rereading that over and over and see, is it something that's really bothering you? Is it something that you can change? Is it something that you have control over? And if it's not, let it go. Honestly, you don't want to be holding on to whatever is making you upset or whatever is making you complain, because if you can't change it, there is no point in trying to fix it. But what you can do is fix your perception, fix your outlook, fix your attitude. So that would be my recommendation for anybody out there who struggles with complaining. All right, so the fifth thing that I struggle with a lot is control. Now, I know that I've mentioned in the past that I use budgeting and planning and meal planning as my form of control, but I used to be a really bad control freak. It would get so bad that he was afraid to fold towels because he thought he was going to fold them wrong because I had to have them folded a certain way. And that became apparent to me when I started to let my daughter fold the towels, and he asked me, "You're okay with this?" And at the moment I was like, "Yeah, it's fine." And it hit me that I have conditioned my family to do things a particular way because I wanted them done that way, and that was not fair to them at all. So I still struggle with this. and it's something that I am just continuously learning how to control my controlling, how to overcome. And one thing that my husband and I do is we just talk it out. Before, we used to have arguments and we didn't really know what we were arguing about, and now we do. Now we know what we are arguing about and we can actually fix things. So yes, my husband and I argue. We're not the perfect couple, but one thing that we have learned to do over the years is step away when we're too angry to keep talking, and then just come back and resolve it when emotions have gone down. But with the control thing, I can give you an example. More recently, there were some dishes that were left overnight on my kitchen counter, and it wasn't even a lot of dishes. It was just a few. And my husband came out of his office because he works from home, and he came out with a smile on his face because he wanted to see his beautiful wife first thing in the morning. And first thing I did was look at the dishes, and then I looked at him with this look on my face. And he knew in that moment what was going on. And first thing he said was, "I'll take care of it." And that just kind of spiraled in the moment. But we both recognized what was going on and we both stepped away. I went my direction, he went back to work, and then when we came back together a little while later, I told him it wasn't the dishes, it was the control. And again, he understood. And we talked it out, and things are good now. So just understand that you can't control everything. Can't do it. My advice to you would be to let go. Let go of some of that control, and it's going to feel uncomfortable, and you're going to feel like everything is falling apart, because that's how I felt. But it's going to be okay. It really is. The first time that I let my daughter fold the towels, I was standing there watching like this, twitching, like, "You're not doing it right." But I let it go. As hard as it was for me, I let it go. So instead of making her do it over and over and over again until it was perfect in my eyes, I let it go. And now she knows how to fold towels. And that's really what it is. And it's going to be hard. Again, it's going to be hard to let things go. But when you're dealing with this anxiety, you have to learn to let some things go if you want to start to get better. Because if you hold on to it, it's going to hold on to you. And I can tell you that is not the place that you want to live. You don't want to live in here when your anxiety is going all crazy. And just know it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. That has been my, mantra for years now. In the moments when I'm having a really bad anxiety attack, I am saying to myself over and over, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Sometimes I'm fine after I say it 5 times. Sometimes I'm fine after I say it like 50 times. But you know what? In the end, it's okay. I'm still here. Nothing bad has happened to where I can't be here, and I'm able to share my story with you. So if you feel like you struggle with any of these things, just try some of the tips that I gave you and see if it works for you. And comment below and let me know how it works for you. Or if you struggle with something different that I haven't mentioned, go ahead and also leave that in the comments. I want to learn about others' struggles and how they cope with it, because it might be something that I could learn from. So thanks so much for watching. Again, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.